This is the one final question from members of the audience. Like Waters and Petzl. And David, you were first here. What one thing should we remember about you when we decide for whom we should vote?
Would you repeat that?
What one thing should we remember about you when we decide for whom we should vote in this election?
Well, I'm the least rehearsed candidate here. I think the thing that makes me a viable candidate or a qualified candidate is that I represent no organization, group. I represent only one person, the individual citizen. And if you're one of those, I represent you. And I think that's the philosophy of individualism, absolute individualism, the right of people to make their own choices in every sphere of their lives is the most important lesson that our founders passed on to us, and we seem to have lost it. We have become so dependent on government. We have sacrificed so many of our liberties to government for security that I think Americans seem to have lost the ability to provide for themselves. Because every time there's a problem, it's not let's solve this, let's get the government to do something. And that's wrong, because we are the government. If we can't solve it as individuals, how are, as a group of strangers in Seattle or Salem or in Washington going to solve our problems for us? It's a fallacy. We need to be more dependent on ourselves, and government should be more localized. We need to get Salem out of our schools, get Salem out of our property. Decisions need to be made locally by local citizens, city councils, commissioners, and people like that. We need to decentralize government for the sake of all of us, or we're going to lose all of our freedom to centralize power.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's a great question. I hope you'll always remember that you are my most important purpose. It's your well-being that matters most of all. I love this county. I love our people. I've been there for them through thick and thin, numerous tough times. I've always felt like I identified with y'all. And I grew up in a meager upbringing, but a great church. We never got money for college. I had to pay every dime myself except $100 that was a gift. Thanks to the church people who loved and cared for us, we were able to make it. So I identify with our small towns. I identify with our work ethic. I've always been a hard worker. That's all I've ever known. It's hard work. But most importantly, I loved you. I've listened to you. I've worked hard, and we've won some tough battles over these last 6 years. Came out far better than it looked like from the beginning. And we have a lot of good to do in the future, and the best is yet to be. And I want you to remember that I'm a keeper.
Sal?
There's a great deal of cynicism with regard to our political process. And a lot of it is created by the manner by which we're elected. People are given issues that are intended to divide us as citizens from one another. That immigration was one, gay marriage was one a couple of years ago. It creates cynicism. We participate in politics of personal destruction, negative attack ads against one another. You'll see candidates getting torn down right and left because there are those who believe that that's all people are interested in as citizens. People have become cynical about our political process because they believe that our legislature is so controlled by special interests and corporations that their voice doesn't matter. And if there's one thing that I'd like for each of you to remember about me, it's that I would like to invite you to participate in a politics of hope. I'd like each of you to think that every one of us as citizens can make a difference. I would like you to think that tomorrow could be a better day than today was. I'd like to think, every one of you to think that we can deal with the problems facing this country, be it dealing with the healthcare problem, dealing with education, dealing with special interest control of our legislative process. Each one of these things have problems, are problems that we can address and deal with as citizens. And from our combined efforts will be written the history of this generation. I would invite all of you to participate in the moral struggle of our day.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank you all for coming out here tonight. We have now gone through for an hour. I think each of the candidates will be able to stay for a little bit to talk to us individually afterwards. On behalf of Linfield College, on behalf of... Is that okay if you guys stand? Will you? That's
Sorry,
okay.
I was impressed by that.
I'm glad
We started a fund for Hope, and he could be our spokesman.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you all for coming, and I want to invite you all to stay and talk some more, and I want to remind you to please be sure to vote on or before November 7th.
Yes.
Vote early and often.
Where'd you learn that? Chicago?
And this concludes our broadcast of the District 24 candidates on debate here on KSLC FM. Thank you for listening.